Hello.
Hi, Keish.
We're gonna do this again. We're recording. Welcome. This is probably gonna be day 4. Hopefully, I don't post these out of order.
Okay.
We have been introducing you to Chocolate Milk Cafe National and what we're doing on a national level. We have talked to Mama Hakima Payne in Tafunsi Payne in Kansas City, Missouri, and you got to also see a board chat with the members of our board. And today we have one of our facilitators, and we're going to do a lovely, hopefully, discussion on what it's like to be a facilitator for Chocolate Milk Cafe and their experience. So, if you don't know already, my name is Takesha, she, her pronouns. I am the executive director for Chocolate Milk Cafe, and I'm also president of the board for now. Uh, and with us today, we have Nerlande. And Nerlande, I'm not really going to introduce her. She's going to talk more about herself. But Nerlande is a facilitator for our East Orange, New Jersey chapter. So, hi, Nerlande.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nerlande. Oh, am I introducing yet? I don't know yet.
I mean, I said it, but that's I'm going to. But you can actually tell us something about yourself so we can get started that way.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Nerlande Welch. I am a mom of 2. My firstborn is a son, Nathaniel, and my second is a girl, Niall, who is 20 months and who is exclusively breastfeeding still. So, yeah.
That's exciting, right?
Mhm.
Do you have a goal? Do you have an end goal for that?
Honestly, I told myself once she turns 2, we're going to start to see where it goes from there. Because, I mean, it was only like 4 months left till she's 2. So I'm just trying to see. But honestly, I don't know if she's really going to come off at that age. I think that it's going to take some time. I mean, she nurses now still like very frequent.
I
And
was
I'm
gonna
not
say, about
sure.
4 years from now, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, where's
I
that?"
know. And I think it's because I've just always been in her presence. Even when I went back to work, like I was just at work for like what, 2 weeks and then COVID happened. So I just feel like she just always has had me around. And even though she's a good eater, she loves the boobs. And I mean, she just loves it. She just always comes back. So
So, tell
I
us.
don't
Oh,
mind.
yeah. So we'll talk about that since we're talking about breastfeeding. What
Yeah.
is your breastfeeding experience like? How do you feel about breastfeeding as a
Ooh,
parent? Actually,
so
start with like your beginning because I know you probably it's
yeah,
you.
I yeah, I will definitely touch on that. So, breastfeeding for me in the beginning, like once we found out that we were pregnant, we started talking about that. And because my husband's a breastfed baby, he just knew that that was something that he wanted for his kids. Um, I believe I was breastfed, but I wasn't breastfed for too long. But my mom never really talked about it until after she saw me starting to breastfeed my son. So we already knew that that was the option we were going for. And I remember having my son, and we were just having latching issues. And when I was introduced to Vicky Nyson, who is my IBCLC,
And your
and
co-facilitator.
my co-facilitator, right? um, that's when I was introduced to the challenges that mothers do face around breastfeeding. And my son had a class A tongue tie, meaning he couldn't even go like this. Like he couldn't stick his tongue out. And she was shocked at the amount of milk I was producing because she's like, wait, you're producing this amount of milk? And I think we were at 4 weeks at this time when I saw Vicky. And she was like, you need to see, I forgot who the doctor was that did the surgery, but Schechter. I think it was Schechter. So she was like, you really need to address this because your son could possibly be speech delayed and may not be able to talk. And once she said that, that wasn't just a fear, but it was just like I understood her, like the severity of the issue because I was in pain still at 4 weeks. So we got that done at 6 weeks, and from there, breastfeeding for me, that journey began to be a better journey. I remember going to the doctor, and when they saw how bad his tongue tie was, she looked at me and she said, you've been breastfeeding on, you've been breastfeeding for 6 weeks like this? And I said, yeah. Honestly, I think she shed a tear inside because she felt so bad. She's like, oh my gosh. And she was shocked at the amount of milk I had too. She was like, you weren't even supposed to produce any milk at this point. Um, so that kind of introduced me to that. And I was told that once one child has it, watch out for your next pregnancies. They possibly can have it too. So
Quick
with
question.
my,
I'm sorry, quick question. Was he having any issues gaining weight or anything?
that was another thing.
He
He
was
wasn't having an issue with gaining weight because I remember at his 1 week appointment when we went to the pediatrician, because I was telling the pediatrician, like, I know I heard breastfeeding is usually painful, but I was telling him, like, no, this is painful. And I was like, can you please check if there's something going on, like how he's latching? I had my boobs out and I was like, watch how he latches. And then he looked with the chopstick, the big chopstick, and he was like, nope, seems fine. It's just normal.
Yeah, their education around breastfeeding for pediatricians is
My gosh, it's horrible. So then, and when they weighed him, they was like, oh, well, he's gaining a lot of weight, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, he's gaining weight. I guess I just got to live through this pain. But that was, for me, the pain, although it was like frustrating because a lot of times watching my husband see me like, okay, like trying to latch my son on. It was hard, but I was so determined and there was no other option for me. So we just did it up until 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, I remember the first time once they cut his frenulum, they put him on my boobs and I was like, he's not on my mouth. And they're like, look at him. He's eating. And I'm like, but I don't feel anything. There's like, you're not supposed to. And I was like, what? So
yeah.
ever
It makes
since
a
then it
difference.
was
Like
like,
it's like a little tugging for some, but
yeah,
like
like I felt I just felt his like lips, but I didn't feel like and she just like, look at his jaw's moving. And I was like, wow.
it's like magic.
It really was magic. I was like, oh my God. And I think in like 2 days, my nipples started to heal and I started forgetting that pain. Even after 6 weeks, I really started forgetting that pain. And then she just said, you know what? Do not have him on any bottles for a month. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do an extra month because I don't want him to even get nipple confused. And then at that point, we were just exclusively breastfeeding and he didn't want to take the bottle. Even when he turned 1, we were trying to I was trying to pump milk, put it in his sippy cup, want nothing to do with it. Everything was straight from my boobs to him.
And so while you're having this experience and you have Vicky in your background, did you have any other support?
Um, I mean, besides my husband, even though at the beginning, there were some comments that he said that I felt like it was just kind of just ignorance, but hurted my feelings because, I mean, we would have just fed Nathaniel like 30 minutes. And then in another 30 minutes, he's like ripping his head off. And he's like, babe, your breast milk is like water. We need to do something. And I remember when he said that to me, I just cried because I was like, the nerve of you, and I remember when I brought it up to Vicky, and Vicky straight told him about himself. Was like, you don't ever say breast milk is like water. And ever since then, he was like, babe, I'm so sorry. I just didn't understand why he was just pulling his head out, but it's because he wasn't getting what he needed. Honestly, he was a very good sleeper still. He never really was like, he had a schedule where he would wake up to eat, but wasn't this fussy kid, wasn't this waking up all night type of a thing. It just, after 6 weeks, he was actually sleeping through the night and doing a lot much better. Like little things, he was just kind of getting over the hump. So, what? I can't even hear you.
I said that's not common for everybody sleeping through the
I
night.
know, I know, I know. Every time I say it, they're like, oh, Nerlande, you have it good. I remember when we went to my pediatrician appointment with Niall, and she's like, are these kids sleeping through the night? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, she's like, yeah, I can tell. You guys look amazing. Your skin, like you guys are glowing. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, thank you for that compliment. She's like, yeah, I could tell your kids are very well behaved. And I was like, okay. But
Can't say
yeah,
anything.
so
Like
So,
I'm saying, I used to have visceral reactions to sleeping through the night, and now it's like I can't ask a question to a parent without them thinking that's what I'm saying.
right,
You know, because we're so it's such a common thing. It's like, no, are you sleeping well? Oh yeah, she's no, no, no. I didn't say the baby. I'm not
right. So
saying
you, right.
how are you doing, or even if the baby's sleeping okay. Like I don't
Mhm.
even care about through the night because I learned that through the night is relative depending on the person because it could be
Exactly.
midnight to 4 o'clock and someone's like,
4 o'clock.
oh, I didn't sleep through the
Exactly.
night.
Exactly.
That's through the night for them in their
Right. And
relative.
it's fine. That's a very good, that's very good that you say that, because even in our meetings when we're talking with our moms, like we ask that question. And then when we actually pose it, like, are you sleeping at least 4 hours in the night? And they're like, yes. And that to them is, I'm sleeping well through the night, you know. So that's funny that you say that, because a lot of our moms, we kind of have to say, wait, no, like you're sleeping from like 10 to like morning, and they're like, oh no, 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 no. And we're like, oh, okay, okay.
It's a pocket of time you don't feel sleep deprived. Basically, that's what
Right.
time.
Exactly.
I feel well rested,
Yeah,
but that's not how people phrase it.
exactly.
Did
And
you
so,
did you finish about your daughter? Is
and
that
so
what?
then and so pretty much after Nathaniel, when I had Niall, the same IBCLC that I actually saw at the hospital was the same one I saw for my daughter. And it's funny because when she saw Nathaniel, she's like, "Oh, he has a little bit of tightness in his tongue," but it was, I'm like, whatever. Anyway, so I actually didn't even ask her about Niall. I just was like, I'm not even going to take your judgment, because clearly my son could have not been talking if I listened to you. Um, I just knew that it was a little bit different because it didn't hurt as much, but I noticed that there was some tightness with her. Like she would be like holding her hands. And then I just had Vicky come see me like 2 days postpartum. And she was like, yeah, she's a little tight. There's a lip, she had actually a lip tie too. So she had a lip tie and a little bit of a tongue tie. So I think 6 days old, she got that addressed, and hers was lasered. And I was confident about it because I'm like, you know what? I will not wait 6 weeks to deal with what I dealt with Nathaniel. So we got that done. We got her some adjustments, and breastfeeding for us was just amazing. The one thing I did notice with Niall is when she would nurse on either of my boobs, they'd be engorged. And by the time she finished eating, they would have swelled up more. So that's how I knew there was something going on, because I'm like, well, why is she not emptying me out? And then speaking with Vicky, I was able to kind of get some resources, and we addressed that. So that's my breastfeeding journey. But I wouldn't take it away for anything. It was um, amazing for me. It was definitely rewarding. It's just amazing to know that a body can really produce food for your kids, and just watch how they developmentally grow physically, emotionally. I think all of those just build an attachment for me and my kids. And I think my husband loved to see that too. Like he always used to tell me, like, babe, you're feeding, like this is your time in the baby, like this is not to be on your phone. Like, so I felt like he supported me. He supported the idea of breastfeeding. He supported the whole like connection skin to skin and everything. So there were times when he kept me accountable, and it's just not okay. You're just not giving your child food, but you're also connecting with your child. And I think that was just ideal for
I'm
us.
laughing because I'm laughing at all the times that I've been on my phone while breastfeeding. The whole time it's like,
I know, like I'm just like, sure, those are the times when you're like, oh my God, I do remember I had to do this. I had to send this text. I had to, so
24/7. The kids on my boob all day long. Like
right.
I need to have some. I'm not nursing.
Exactly.
But I mean,
Exactly.
it is bonding, and I definitely miss like sometimes I'm like that was like my reason excuse to like sit down and keep
Right.
there. So I get
Exactly.
where it's coming from, but if you ain't in it, it's different.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
gotta multitask. But
I, I, I just I really love those stages when they were like 3 months, when they would just stare at you when they're eating. And then like even Nayel now, like she has this thing where she plays with my ears, or she does this thing with her finger. She's always doing this. And like she's like pinching me. Or sometimes I even notice if I'm on my phone, she would like pull my ears to like look down at her or
Oh, pay attention to me now. Yeah,
exactly.
I get
So, you know, those kind of things still reminds me of the things that my husband would tell me, like, babe,
it. Yeah.
like, get
I
off
mean,
your phone.
I'm not saying he's wrong,
Oh, right. But I
but
mean,
like, how
listen.
many hours do you devote to breastfeeding?
And especially at the age that Niall is right now, I'm like, does she really need me to be staring at her? You know what I'm saying?
That won't
She's a
stop her
big
from
girl.
wanting it, but you know, you get into like bodily autonomy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay, I will give you 3 minutes of your time, and then I'm gonna give 5 minutes over here, and then come and
right,
like you try to figure it out.
right,
Like if it's not important, yes, you can leave it for later, but
right.
you know, if it's a break for her, it's a break for you.
Exactly.
We all we all moderation, I guess, like
Right,
depending on how you
exactly.
use moderation. But I also wanted to talk. Okay, so we're gonna talk forever because we
Yeah,
definitely talked longer than we should have before hitting record.
okay.
But while we're here talking, we're gonna make sure we hit some of these points of because I'm curious about how did you learn about Chocolate Milk Cafe? Because your daughter, you when you took the training, she was around, so
Yeah, when I was training, she was like, what, 6 months? 3, 4, 6 months. No, she was born in February. We had a training in April. So
yeah,
like 2.5 months, yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I think what brought me to Chocolate Milk Cafe was how close me and Vicky got. She realized that I not only was taking the advice for myself, but I was also sharing it with like my community, my circle. And she said, you know what? I see that you have a passion for this. I see that you're willing to help whoever just wants to breastfeed. And I think she saw that leadership quality in me, and she said, you know what, I really want you to come in on this training. I really think that you'd be a very good facilitator, not even knowing that we would end up being co-facilitators, but yeah, she just was like, you know, I just see this in you. I see it's burning in you. And she just was like, you know, I want to invest this. I want to invest in you by bringing you onto this training. And so that's how I came in on the training, and I met these beautiful ladies, and I met Mama Hakima, and I was like, wow, this was just, it was life changing for me. I can remember the first day after training, I came home and I was just thinking my husband like, babe, thank you for allowing me to do this. And he's just like, what? Like, so him was just like, what's the big deal? I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, there's just this fire. Like, I'm just excited. Like, I was just so amped about the first day of training, and I was like, babe, this is what I want to do. This is really what I want to do. And he's like, good, you've been doing it. I saw it in you too. And I'm like, you did? So we just had a conversation, and I'm just happy to be part of Chocolate Milk Cafe. I feel like it's a place that we have like-minded thoughts and beliefs, and I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, that's good. I will tell you the training. I participated in three.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a trainer, but I participated in three, and it's something about holding sacred space because a lot of people who do the training have been doulas, they're IBCLCs, they've done other trainings, and I think a lot of doula trainings, like you just experienced, like a doula training. I think there's a lot of space for like not all there may be some, but most of the time people are doing trainings that aren't necessarily black led or black specific spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And to see, especially I remember for your training we did this last year, April.
April, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, the amount of people who came into a space and felt comfortable.
Yes, the vulnerability that was in the room.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can remember so many people opened about things that they've never did. And that just showed you that that place, that environment was safe. It was a place to be just naked and open about, just
it
the
couldn't
work
be
that
could
we're
have
going to
been
be
up
doing.
because we're so
Right.
it was so much like it, in a in a good way, but like just everybody just wanted to pour their hearts out. And I know
Right.
like I'm just gonna come and I'm just gonna observe, and it's just hard to not get sucked in. And
Right, right, right.
I tell you, that's one thing about the essence of Mama Hakima.
Mhm.
And I keep saying the way I've described her is like when she's present, she's really present, and to be
Yeah.
in space with her, you feel like that you are important.
Yeah.
Even
You
you
know, when I think of Mama Hakima, I think of, and I don't know if this is a picture that's in my head, but like you ever see like animals when they have so many kids, like the mom is like this, like just right there and has like mad like nipples and like all the baby just comes to like, and they're just sitting there. Like I just felt like she's just like that mama to many. Like she's just that like person that kind of embraces, like she has that about her. It's something warm about her that kind of brings people together, and just her voice and like I don't know, just something about her that really I think also helped make the environment safe too. She just has this embracing thing about her that
That's funny. I get what you're describing, but you just remind me of like my breastfeeding experience with my twins. I'm like, that's literally how I spent many days on my breastfeeding.
like everyone just comes and feeds off of her and feeds off her energy, feeds off the love that she's able to give.
Yeah, and it sounds great, but also as an introvert, it sounds exhausting. But I do see where you're going. I think I think it's great. It's like it's kind of what we need in the community. We do need
Right.
like elders to be someone who is able to give, and hopefully they get the rest they need to be able to do that work. Because we need it. That's how we grow. That's how community works. Like we need our ancestors and our elders to be able to pass that information and pass all that knowledge down to us, so we can cycle through, and our descendants and everyone can prosper. So definitely, I agree. It is. It's very, like I said, it's very. It's great to be in presence with her. It's great to be in presence with a lot of the people involved in Chocolate Milk Cafe. It's just, it's all coming together, and everybody has like their own little knacks and things that help us make us feel seen and heard.
Yeah.
So, so your answer, we talked about how did you hear about it, what inspired you, and your breastfeeding experience, and you led us into training, whatever. So, our last point that we want to touch on is like, what is it like facilitating a group? So you facilitate with Vicky. You guys are the facilitators for East Orange. You're normally you are in the WIC office in East Orange, but I think you guys didn't start until this year, right? Or no, last
Yeah,
year.
no, we started a little bit at the end of 2019.
So you
We
had
started,
some in you were packed when I've gone.
yeah.
But yeah, tell us about that experience, and then moving into like the COVID experience of doing virtual, and how you feel about like being a facilitator.
So I remember being nervous about our first meeting, but it just seemed like once we got into the groove, it like you could tell these mothers were hungry for information. They were hungry for a safe space. They were hungry for a community that we were building. And from there, you know, those like fear, that anxiety, that nervousness was lifted, and we were just very confident that these moms were going to be faithful attendees of our meetings, and they felt safe. And even when COVID happened, and we were, you know, told that we were going to be doing this virtually, I didn't for one second have any doubt that our numbers were going to decrease, or like this was going to be a hard transition. I felt that we built a relationship in those 2 3 months before we became virtual. And even now, like sometimes I'm shocked at the amount of registrants that we get and the participation. You know, some meetings they're more quiet and they're more like soaking in. Some other meetings where we're all like chatterbox and we're all, you know, we have so much to give, we have so much to share. Um, and I feel like too, it didn't take away from the safe space. We were able to still remain safe. Now we were obviously in the comfort of our own home, but it still was like it just didn't change anything, and it just makes me think that even if we were to go back in person, how powerful it'll be even more just being in each other's presence again.
Mm.
So yeah,
You gain some things and you lose some things.
yeah.
It's definitely a hustle to like get
Mhm.
your kids out and go to a space, and then like for people to set up and like snacks, and then your kids are running around because you had to bring them with you. But then
Mhm.
also you lose some things because you're home or because of this connection. But we happen to have gotten a good balance of like
Mm-hmm.
being able to serve people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely attended. I haven't been to anyone's groups lately, but in the beginning, attending, I was like trying to attend all of them to see
Mm-hmm.
kind of the different vibe of each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like like, I mean, I guess I didn't prepare you for this, but like dynamic of your groups, like do you have a lot of new people? Do you have a lot of people nursing toddlers? Do you have a mixture? What is your
I would say we have a lot of pregnant moms and newborn moms. There's not much of like toddler moms, um, but it changes. Like certain meetings, it's just new moms. You know, when I say new mom, I'm talking about newborn to like 6 months. And then some meetings, you might find two seasoned moms who have toddlers who are nursing two past 2 years old. But either which way, what I like about it is they always, seasoned moms and the newborn moms always have a way of still connecting. There's always something that connects two moms together. So again, we were just constantly building at every meeting, and it's just amazing to see the different dynamics.
and how do you guys run your meetings? Like you and Vicky switch off, right? You
Yeah, so like every other month, Vicky would be more the host, and then I'd be the one kind of like putting in resources if there is any, or taking down the attendance and stuff, but still being present. And then we'll kind of, and we always have an icebreaker. So usually it starts with either a question or something that's going on with like current events, like, you know, and everything that was going on with the racial issues. We were just kind of checking in, like, how are you moms doing? Like, what do you guys feel? You know, so we just always try to find something that we all can kind of chime in, start off, and then obviously whatever every mom has a concern or question about, we definitely address those things. But we always like to start with an icebreaker just so we can kind of break the awkwardness on the screens. And then, yeah. And then honestly, I was shocked to see that a lot of moms actually like to have their camera on as opposed to not having their camera on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely prefer it, but yeah, it's good that I know I don't think in any of them we have people like who are avidly against it or anything.
Hmm.
But it's yeah, I mean we should probably go over at some point like our virtual etiquette rule like
Right, right,
for safety, but at the same time, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. But we definitely
right.
recommend you
I
have it
mean,
on.
sometimes some moms are at work,
Yeah.
and they tune in and their camera's off. But for the most part, moms like to actually see each other and talk, and
Yeah.
sounds good.
Probably one of the few spaces where they're like, okay, fine, like this is good.
Right, right, right. This is not work, so I guess I could be seen.
Oh my God, the amount of things like I'm so annoyed at the regulations of forcing children to have their cameras on all the time. I mean, like in this case it's different, but yeah, like the forcing of it, like you must do this or you get like in trouble.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm not going to cut off just then. Yeah, but I do want to thank you because I enjoyed having this conversation. Hopefully, other people are into this conversation. I realized that I should probably, and it might be reversed, do a video to kind of walk through like becoming a facilitator. Is there
Mhm.
anything that you'd like to add? Like anything that maybe I shouldn't put us on the spot like this, like what you would like to see more in training? Because we've been talking about doing supplemental trainings and building up our um, Chocolate Milk Cafe like education as
Mhm.
a facilitator. So, is there anything that you want to see? Oh, that's better. Okay, you can talk about training, but anything you want to see with Chocolate Milk Cafe? What are you hoping that you
Um,
provide
in
in?
regards to training, I think one of the things that I would incorporate or I would like to see incorporated is so for example, like every chapter there should be like a resource list that the
Okay.
facilitator should have, so that, you know, even starting their meetings, they have these resources, these general resources in their area that they can always refer to.
Yeah.
I feel like that's good because that's a good starter. Because, like, your first day of meeting, you might find a lot of parents asking questions, and you're just like, uh,
Yeah, so as a facilitator, yeah, well, that actually is something that we talked about it at our Sunday brunch,
Yeah, we did. Hmm.
having like encouraging our facilitators to have their own local resources. So we're kind of going to be making
Working
that
on
a
that.
requirement for
Good.
starting new chapters, like
Hmm.
starting to get local resources. We definitely want Black um, practitioners as much as possible because that is what our community is trying to uplift and bring more into a sacred space. Not to say that just because you're Black, you will be sacred and safe.
Right.
Well, that is what we're aiming for. You might want to do some due diligence in making sure that you are kind of screening some of these people, not just going off, oh, that name, Black, it checks a
Right,
box.
right, right. Hmm.
But yeah, we will be asking for more of that. And I mean, in the world of doulas, that's something that is required of you anyway,
Right.
collecting your resources. But yes, for Chocolate Milk Cafe, we'll definitely be doing that. And that is a good one. As far as like anything else that you would like to see as for us growing forward, we're slow. We're national. We are national, but we are moving slowly.
Chloe.
We do have high aspirations.
I definitely would love a conference.
You're like Hakima.
I definitely want a conference. I feel like we definitely need
I put
that.
that like
We need that we need that getaway a little bit.
a conference will be nice eventually. Yeah, that's yeah. We're trying to get a committee together for that because I don't know if Takesha can. I mean, yes, I said my name in third person.
I know. I know.
But yeah, another
For
conference.
me, it's like taking on that responsibility. I want to fully commit, so I don't want to do it and like half work it. But yeah, I definitely want a conference.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Conference.
I want to
So
see a bunch of like if I enter a room with a sea of lactating people, all Black, like I might just like have a heart attack. Like
I know.
oh, all the chocolate milk stuff we could do. It
I
would
know.
there's so many like other
Just think of like the sponsors, the like different
there's so many
tabling at a conference, having different like black businesses support.
yeah, and all the other Black breastfeeding like associations that are out there in the
Hmm.
world. It just I think it would be bomb. Like
It
so
would. It
I'm
really would.
yeah, I'm already like
You know,
losing.
it's funny because I don't hear a lot of. I don't think I've ever heard of a breastfeeding like conference. So this would be
There is
like,
the Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association has one. They're in
oh, they do.
Michigan.
Oh,
There's
oh wait, yeah, you went to one. You went to one, right?
not a breastfeeding conference. No, the caucus. Oh, that was online. But the
No,
conference I didn't go to the
I
conference.
know you actually went to one. It was in, was it in Chicago or Atlanta or Georgia?
Oh, you're talking about the Black Mamas Matter Alliance.
Yeah,
That that
that
was
wasn't a
for
breastfeeding.
the internal the collaborators collaborative partners. I didn't go to their conference, but they will be having one in 2021 that I'm hoping
Mm.
sure that I'm a part of. In person, no, but I'm talking about like lactation related. I've been to a La Leche. I actually have been to a La Leche League conference.
Conference.
I helped me like be a part of a baby wearing
Mm.
station, but I didn't get to go to any of the stuff because I was at the baby wearing station.
Mm.
um, but no, in the sense of like something that is super holistic and crunchy, that is Black centered, I've
Never, yeah, I've never seen
never been to something. I was gonna say I've never heard of, but I feel like I think I may have heard of something in California that might have fit some of those bills, but not necessarily so heavily on lactation.
that. Mm.
So like that milk aspect, like something about you know people just love
Boobs,
breast milk,
breastfeeding, chocolate, milk.
food milk, human milk, like
Right.
the idea of like what we can do with it because there's so many things.
There is.
Things
It's
like,
so many scattered things. It's just bringing it all in one.
yeah.
Oof, we would need it. We would need a strong team.
So Hakima has mentioned this as well on our chat. So this is your second time hearing this. So that means I need to get on it. So 2022.
Yes, that would be really, really good. 2022.
Yeah,
Let's
but
get into.
I would love that. I can we can dream big and see how that goes. That would be bomb. That would be really dope. And like
Would you
especially
have it in Jersey?
um I don't know. We could. It's either Jersey or Kansas City, Missouri, because that's the mecca right there, right?
That's true. That's true.
um, but we'll see. Like, I don't know. If you are interested in supporting this idea and you feel just as excited about it as we do, we would love some sponsors and some support because
Yeah.
sponsorship, actually, collaboration or contributions, I'm not going to say sponsorship because that gets kind of funny, but contributions
Mhm.
to this project would be immensely appreciated. And that can help us get to where we want to go because funding and having a budget will help us decide where and how. But I mean, if it's in my backyard, not physical, but if it's in New Jersey,
Right.
it's really easy for me to.
Yeah. Or
I'm
maybe New York too. New York might because New York has some nice places.
New York is parking is a really big issue.
Yeah, I know. I
So
know.
parking, and then it's expensive to lodge in New York.
That's true.
So New Jersey's even kind of high, but at least like
You
driving.
can find a place that actually has parking and
Yeah, but New
a
York is
close by hotel. Yeah.
so some of those things are true. And then the other thing about New York is when you're trying to like if you're having a conference and you have people bringing stuff to it, like the logistics of offloading
Mm.
your truck or van or whatever to get into those things end up getting overwhelming and it's condensed. Like it's not that condensed right now since there's not a lot of people, but it's not.
Right,
But
right, right.
pricing for things is really high.
Yeah, that's true. I think Jersey would be the best
Jersey
place
would
to
be
do it.
Jersey would be fine. I'm open to New Jersey because we're here anyway.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll definitely play with that. I definitely, like I said, maybe as we get more people into the community, you don't actually have to be facilitators to help support Chocolate Milk Cafe. Maybe we can have some people help us like bring that to life. Um, I have a knack for event planning, and I love it. I get a little insecure when it comes to like the academic parts of it all because everyone's like continuing education and
Mm.
all this stuff like I get a little like oh I don't know but I don't know how you guys are figuring it out but I'm into it. I'm ready in a way but I can't do it alone. So I like that that's on everybody's brain. Everyone's like let's do a conference. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
um,
I'm really excited about this conference, actually.
all right,
We
well,
definitely need to do it.
okay, so we'll see how that can happen. Now that we done put it out here twice
I
on the
like the, I like decor, the parts. I like the spons or collaborations. I like finding out those types of people.
yeah, well, we'll start making notes. Make a list. We'll start figuring it out. We can
Yeah.
have some breast milk soap,
Start even looking at places.
breast milk ice cream.
Ooh. Breast milk ice cream. Oh God.
Maybe like a
Who would like to donate their milk so we can make some ice cream?
oh God. Okay, okay, let's stop talking. Well, thank you. Thank you
You're
again.
very welcome. Thank you for having me.
This was enlightening. Maybe we'll get some other people to join us in some conversation. Um, well, hopefully you've been enjoying the week and learning about Chocolate Milk Cafe. If you have any questions,
Yeah.
you can email hello@chocolatemilkcafe.com and let us know what you think or if you have any thoughts, and we'll probably go through those too. Bye.
Alrighty. Thank you for having me, Keish.